Welcome to the show. All things Bulldogs. Here we go, here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Blue and white pride. Bulldogs for life. Dog father here. Gas by my side.
G'day, doggies, fans, all things Bulldogs. Happy Easter to everyone. And for those that celebrate it and whatever else, happy holidays. Enjoy your time off and time with family if you're lucky to get some. G'day, Gas. How are you, buddy?
G'day, Michael. How are you, mate?
Oh, I'm not too bad, mate. It's a bit melancholy, as you know. I haven't had many good Easters over the last 8 years, and last year was a good one, but this one not so good. After that, lots of hope, lots of good stuff that we'll go over and we'll talk about, and obviously the collapse in that second half. But I still think some of the exaggerated panic has been hilarious in one way, but and when we break it down, like, it's only a small percentage of the actual Bulldogs fan base that are carrying on like fools. But look, as I said, the pathway to success is through failures and mistakes, and we're not going to talk about whether we believe there was mistakes made or whatever by certain individuals. We'll just call out what happened, and that's how it'll be. It'll be the review. So we're going to do a pretty comprehensive review, look at some stats. We're going to also look at the rotation policy. I think a lot of people, and it's really disgraceful that ex-players on Fox and all that sit there in a game preview talking about whether Bronson Cherry is going to play second row. So they obviously have not paid any attention to all 17 clubs in the way that they've run their rotation policy to start this year. It's basically one of the big issues with it was that it was going to make teams be very similar in how they look at things and do things. We'll obviously talk about the replacement and Critter's injury. We'll look ahead to a lot of stuff. But, guys, there's a lot I liked in that game. It's funny, Ciraldo tends to come on and just say a lot of stuff that I agree with. And let's be honest, coaches also have to play a little bit of, they're not going to tell everyone everything what they want to hear. Like last week, he wasn't about to tell people Birdo had copped an injury. He just backed his decision in. It's his job. He wants to do it. This guy's signed till 2031. So's Ciraldo. So's Stephen Crichton. They're here for the long haul. And my article talked about it last week. So look, we'll get into it. But before we do, shout out to Timmy, to Brian, and those that have come on to say hello so far. You know, if you want to come here and feel better about the Bulldogs, this is the place to come. If you want to just be sad and outraged and scream for a new coach and a new direction and all this bloody shit and a new fullback and a new this and a new that, well, go hang with those other fools that carry on for their own benefit, to be honest. They all want to be the new JC, the authentic, hilarious Dragons fan who's now 0-5 after their attack's been going great though, the Dragons. But anyway, g'day Bulldogs, Mike, the winner of our money last week. So Mike's looking through the team store and he will let us know in good stead on how we go about getting that to him. But Gas, tell me, what's your feelings, buddy? How do you feel? We're not going to go too hard on the comments tonight, guys. If they fall behind, put the comments out there and we'll get to them later, but we may not get to them all because it's all about what we think as, the massive experts of NRL. So, Gas, what's happening, mate? Tell me what your thoughts are on that performance in a nutshell and just some of the things that you're thinking at the moment.
Look, obviously, I'd like to talk about it as a game of two halves to start with. Even both halves, I'd like look at them both as two parts as well. So if you look at that, the first half, we were unlucky, obviously, to cop an intercept. That happens. There's different ways to look at it. I think the intentions were great there from Connor Tracy. He knew he just had to try to get that ball over the top. AJ had come running in. There's times, and I even mentioned it yesterday, there's times when, Tracy, if he's able to, a little grubber in behind, starts pulling AJ back sometimes, doesn't let them come up. So, it might give Montoya a chance, but it might also keep those wingers from sort of running up there, to go for those intercepts. But once we sort of fell behind, I think the boys showed a lot of grit to keep fighting. You could see they had their game face on. Even watching them sort of, we were sitting pretty close to where they were. There was a lot of intensity in that game. The Rabbitohs were up for it. They were sort of ready and they were hitting hard. They were pushing us back in the tackles. They were ganging up on us, 4 or 5 people at a time sometimes just to get into us. But once we got into our grind, which we always seem to do, we find that sort of good position. I felt like we started to get on top. We obviously considered that second try after that really good play by Montoya and Tuala, Tuala I thought I had one of probably his best game in Bulldogs colours at the moment.
Yep. He was a threat all day.
Having said that, once through that period, Lockie Galvin started coming to his own. Like that game started to open up for them. That try that he scored there, that was just pure, Lockie Galvin heads up footy, like eyes up, just bang, he goes.
Well, that's when Kurt Mann is able to engage the line and then change the point of attack. We always do well. We always do well from that. Whether it's usually on about the halfway line where he starts stuff like that, and the Dogs actually know what to do after it. They practice it. So he did that. Gets it to Galvin and Satili. I felt Satili Tupanua is just to. I'll let you keep going in a sec, buddy. Satili Tupanua's support play and efforts in that first half especially helped change that things for us in attack. But that's why he comes off the bench. Kurt Mann and Satili Tupanua, if they start, we don't get that punch off the bench.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So obviously as we started getting back into that game, the worst thing that could have happened to us was half time.
Yeah.
Because once Bennett got a hold of his team and look, I went back and we had a lot of other people there that I was talking to, and a lot of them were also Rabbitohs supporters. And the first thing I said to them, I said, guys, they were looking at me, here you are, you're all cock-a hoop in your Bulldog jersey. And I said, no. I said, you guys are coming off the bye. I said, your coach is going to get into you at halftime. I said, I'm worried what's going to happen in the second half because of what's going to come out. I said, I said we need to win the first 10 minutes after halftime to get that game going. And then I felt like we'd gone 6-7 minutes, and there was that period there just before when Sitili gave away a penalty on Fafita. When Fafita was getting tackled, he was well held. Fourth tackle, only 20 metres out. Came in late just to hit him, copped the penalty, and that was, for me, the start of the turning point of the game. So I
actually went and watched that again, mate. I felt it wasn't that late. I felt that he
just high. It was high.
Yeah, but
that's what he got him for.
But it was a low. He wasn't swinging like that. It was coming from low, and David actually sort of dropped a little bit. So
and, David played for it. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, it was an unnecessary tackle. He was well wrapped. So when you put yourself in that position, which Sitili did, because he was trying to be that aggressor, which he didn't need to be. There was already two guys holding on to him.
Yeah.
That, for me, look, the ref was just looking for opportunities to go against us, and we just gave it to him there. That's what I'm saying. So whether it was or wasn't the right play for the ref, we still put ourselves in that position. Fafita did the big cry and sook face, and he gave a penalty. Yeah. So from that position, they went downfield, they got the repeat set, and we just never recovered from that. Obviously, when we lost our captain, now my understanding is this. I know a lot of people will talk about why Cherry didn't come on. What I will say, for one thing, is Ciraldo was given bad information. So Ciraldo can only go off his decision based on what he feels is going to be the best thing for the team. He was basically told from the coaching staff, from the team trainers, that they could potentially get Critter back on the field with an injection. So they didn't realise the severity at the time. So they had to make a very quick decision. Where we were standing, both Cherry got up and took his bib off and got ready, and so did SOS. They both got up and got ready, and then the decision was made, if we can get Critter back on the field, well, the intention was to play Sauce late in the game, maybe cover for Hayward or whatever it might be. So let's go with that play, switch the team, and then if Critter comes back up. So I feel like they were given bad information. They didn't realise the severity, and maybe to a degree that might come onto Critter as well, how bad he was injured, to say, I'm done. Just basically just to shut it down from there. But again, you're always hopeful, you want to keep playing. So a lot of factors at play. I don't think it was as straightforward as everyone makes out to be. I was one that was very disappointed initially, because for me, I thought, well, look, it's a left centre. We'll put Cherry straight in. The halves were going great. Like, honestly, for me, the combination, the halves, they were going great. The energy was there. That first half, the way we finished, it was amazing. Like, we were up, and the Rabbitohs were worried. We had them worried. So now the tail after that all changed. For me, SOS showed why he's a journeyman for me in that game. So he is a very structured, very safe player. That's how he played. And we didn't need that at the time. We needed to keep going with the front foot. The kicks weren't effective the way he was putting. We lost that ability to have a bit of change in our kicking game, because you look up and there's Birdo, one off the wing, all the way out there. The kicks are coming from. So we lost that X factor that we've got with our kicking game even. Just the way Birdo puts the ball up, he lets it come right down, and our players are already there.
Yeah.
The kicks, we were putting through, they were just getting there. They were getting a bit of momentum before we even got down there. So, and even when we were behind and we needed to put something on, they were just kicking downfield. So for me, that we lost our best player on the field out to the centres, and I still think we have never won a game with Birdo playing in the centres. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we've ever won a game with Birdo playing in the centres. So for everyone who wants to talk about Birdo in the centres, SOS halfback, all these other things, I think we can show that has been shut down now. Lockie Galvin is our best halfback option right now. Birdo is our best 5'8", and everything else feeds around him. Obviously, we'll talk about what's going to happen with replacements, but that was the first thing. But you've got to look at one other thing, guys. No matter what happened in that game, our guys did not lie down.
That's right.
They were beaten. They were gone. They kept fighting. Even to the end when we scored that try, they went back. Berto kicked that goal straight away. And we were still playing for an 8-point try. Who knows? You're just going to keep going, guys. 2 games in a row we've played, in varying reasons badly, 16-0 halftime. We still only lost by 8. When if you walked away and looked at that game last week, you felt you lost by 20. And yesterday you felt like you would have lost by a lot more. The fact that we were behind that whole second half once they scored the second try and they kicked the goal, and we were never in that game. But the guys don't believe that. They have still got a fighting spirit that they keep going, resilience, and us supporters need to back that up.
Exactly.
We need to follow that up, guys. That's what our job is now, to replicate what our players are doing. It's not their fault they're not going to get a result, but it's not from a lack of trying or lack of effort. So that's where our supporters and our players all need to feel that camaraderie together. We're as supporters, and like Michael said, it's a minority of them. But those minorities speak louder than some of the good voices, because the noise gets washed up, the negativity gets sprayed out. So that comes back to the players. And they're sitting there now, people are talking about Ciraldo and talking about all these things. We can't have that, guys. We need to back our players up. Results will come. It's a long season. It's a long process. There were times last year when Brisbane had lost 3 or 4 in a row and they still won the grand final. We need
Exactly.
I'm not saying we will win, but what I'm saying is you've got to go through ups and downs. Melbourne is not going to stay down the bottom. They're going to fight back. You've got to trust the process, guys. We're not getting beat by 40 or 50. We're not getting smashed. Look at the results today even. Dragons again. 5 down, 5, couldn't even score a point. All these teams are getting hammered. We're still fighting.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about, buddy, but that was beautiful. Love your passion. I agree with everything you said. Welcome to Dark Version. Jim gets SIOS. Nicholas Kane, great to see you. G'day, Lucas. Brian. We just went over that, Dark Warrior. So there was a thought that because with an AC joint, you can actually needle it and go out there. We had players with grade 2 and grade 3 tears with arms hanging off, rotator cuffs hanging off by 20%, stuff like that played last year. So these things happen. But sometimes the needles won't work either. So they might have needled it and it just didn't help him. And the problem with a needle is that you can do more damage. But if that was for us to make the finals or something like that, maybe he comes out again. But they got, as Gus said, they had to make a decision. They thought he's probably going to come back. Indicators were given that was the case. But I'm also going to go on about I'm going to tell you about the rotation stuff so you understand it. So when you watch Fox Sports or Channel 9 and they sit there and act like, oh, who's going to play for the Bulldogs today? Like it's like the coach doesn't know. There's going to be, I told you who the 16 players that would definitely be used were. I told you that. I've told you every week, right? It's not rocket science. We know our team and we know the rotations, the way it goes and how they play. If you want to know that, so you don't have to listen to that crap where Michael Ennis is like, oh, Bronson Cherry, maybe he's going to play in the second row. I don't mind that by, like, they start talking as if it's actually going to fucking happen. And then, Jakey gets out there with Ciraldo. He's like, and he starts talking like he's commentating the game now. Like, it's like he's commentating the last 50 meters of a fucking horse race. Mackay Big Diva's coming down. And it's like the first run of the game, or it's the 4th run in a set at 0-0 after 2 minutes, and he's building it up like someone's about to score a try. Love his enthusiasm, though. I shouldn't be critical. I'm just probably diverting my criticism elsewhere a bit at the moment, guys. But what I want you to say, guys, what I really want to explain is how these rotations work so you guys understand it just for your own education, because people want to sit there and keep you glued into things and have you here and all. You know, Vossi sat there creating. It's like he's trying. I love Vossi a lot, right? Don't get me wrong, as a lover of rugby league. But God, he tries to create content for his radio show. It's ridiculous. He knows shit and he acts like he doesn't. Greg Alexander's probably the only commentator in Fox that didn't want Sauce to go to 7 anyway. But what I will say, and we have to be fair, is that spine change didn't really get a chance to do anything in attack anyway. Once Sauce had a misread in defence, the game was, they just got penalty, repeat set. But when we go through these stats, you'll see that our boys in all the effort stats won all the effort stats. And our forwards were about to go, you know, if that thing doesn't happen, we go and we beat South by a lot. Gus said that one of the keys is obviously getting fatigue in Latrell, and he just starts playing hero plays, him and Cody. We said that in the preview, the keys to victory as well. I reiterated what Gus said on the potty. And the thing is, that's exactly what started to happen. He started doing tap-on plays when there was no need for it because he was buggered and couldn't be fucked. That's what happens. And Latrell's never been fitter. I don't think he looks fit at all, to be honest. But look, when people say criticism that we're a bit slow as a team, it's hard to argue sometimes. But Daryl Halligan, they said we never win a comp with Daryl Halligan at wing or Hazemel Masri. People used to say that because they were too slow. Well, both of them won comps. So understand that. I felt Montoya. When they got outside Montoya before Latrell threw a forward pass, which was correctly called, thank God. I could see that coming a mile away. They shortened us up. They dragged people in and they shrunk us up. I was like, yeah, we're gone here. I could see that. But, yeah, Sauce, unfortunately, turned in twice, and Tallis Duncan, one of the best young, he's that good. He could keep Preston out of a state of origin team. And I'm not, Presto Mania will be playing at the end of tonight's team because Presto, who hyperextended his knee last week, had another really put in another really solid effort for the Dogs. As Gas said, I back up 100%. They made a heap of errors trying to chase that game to win it. And I can never fault that. What I will say, though, is, I've forgotten it now, and I really wanted to say it before, and I've forgotten it. I just had it, and it went. So I'm going to have to bring it back when I remember it. But we'll get into some stats in a minute, guys, because I want to show you that, and then we'll talk also about the rotation policy. But, God, I wanted to I hate when I forget things. It's so annoying. Happy birthday to Timmy coming up tomorrow. Big happy birthday to you, buddy. But, guys, one thing you got to understand is that teams might have better attack and whatever, but I felt our attack evolved quite nicely. We did what we want to do. We brought fatigue into the game. And I believe we would have won by a heap had things stayed the way. I think we go on and win by 15, 16, 20 points. Had that not happened.
Away. It was very close. We hold them out for a little bit longer. We score first in that second half, game over. Just needed to just be, and just unfortunate the way things turned out. But we almost got into that position to pave the way for that victory yesterday. So they were there for the taking, guys. They weren't a team that we couldn't beat. It was just the way that it worked out. And then obviously, once they got that momentum, the ref absolutely caned us in that second half as well. Absolutely caned us. And it wasn't, I don't mind if we're confident if we're doing something wrong, but there was a lot of times they were jumping on late and everything, and he wasn't giving us the same way.
I actually think that of the penalties he gave, I think 80% of them were actual valid penalties. But as you said, we didn't get the same in return. There was an early play where we, that ball where just after we used our challenge, Connor Tracy has a pass thrown forward into him that he knocks backwards. Like it literally floats backwards and bounces backwards. And they got the ball again. Kaloa Matangi misplays the ball, plants it, misplays it, and then goes, oh, I'm sore. My knee's ruined. Makes 198 meters. Might have a PCL. What Latrell did to Connor Tracy was disgusting. Only Birdo's the one he's the only one who said something to him.
Yeah.
And told him. But even that's where the Dogs have got to be better, right? Yeah. I felt I'll go into plays and stuff, like all the criticism that our players get is ridiculous. Yes, I know that a lot of them aren't getting a go in some other teams, but that's what's so great about us is that what we've done with so little. And great comment by Brian here, comment of the day. All these fucking fans that get there and start beating their chest every time there's a loss and basically think they could run the club. And don't be worried. You need to understand there's some of these people that are out there have business ties with people that want to get involved with the club and they take any opportunity they can to talk the club down. And they will actually go and align themselves with some of these shit casters. And that's what they are. Dress up like fucking clowns. And don't even, and then just for their own narrative say that Sauce played 6 when he came on. Oh, was Sauce supposed to go to the right edge? Was he? Do you have to play right edge to be a half, do you? Oh, okay. No, fucking idiots. He's playing first receiver. And they mixed it up. Galvin went into second receiver a couple of times. Bert went into first receiver in that first half. They were doing different stuff all the time. They're trying to mix it up. They're trying to be on different spots of the field. Souths were doing that too. They had Duncan and Fafita swapped a couple of times on edges. But let's get into it, guys. Let's get into these statistics. But, sorry, I didn't even make the fucking point I wanted to make what Brian said, Gas. Sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
These were the people saying we should have been getting Shane Flanagan as coach. Now, I remember when I put down the coaches that I would want in order back in 2022, and I had Mick Potter as my number one, and I said I would like as an assistant Shane Flanagan, not as a full-time head coach, but as an assistant. And I wanted Jim Dimmick, and I think Ciraldo I had in there as well at 4 or 5, maybe to come in as an assistant and then take over Potter or whatever, which is basically what happened anyway. Potter was assistant, but Cameron was getting his help on a lot of stuff. And then they've just moved Potter more to be handling those young guys. But these same people wanted Flanagan as our coach. And he's done a whole lot fucking less with a whole lot more. I can tell you that now. Because I also heard a lot of these people say, oh, we should get Luciano. I remember when Luciano Leilua was on the market. And they were like, oh, we got to get him. And they were talking about the Dogs might get him. And we didn't get him. We had Moses Sully. We let him go. Oh, look what he just did to Jake Avarillo in a game. Or, they got Gutherson and Cook and Valentine Holmes, 3 internationals. They've all played for Australia. They haven't helped them at all.
They're all at the end of their career.
Yeah. So they've gone out and bought those players. We took one of their best young guys and brought him into us, and he's getting ready to rock and roll. We know we got to develop juniors, guys. That's what we've got to do. Develop juniors. They're not there yet. And until they are, we're going to have these players with good work ethics, come from good systems that we've had to get at the right price. We've had to take risks with players that have had injuries. And I'm not talking about Leo Thompson either, guys. He wasn't injured when we signed him, okay? And he's averaged 20 games a year. So he's not injury prone, right? We got Finau Latu. We wanted to get him across early because to help with his rehabilitation. We got Kay Dykes for next to nothing, who looks like an absolute winner.
He looked really good yesterday. He looked really good yesterday. Considering it was his first game, he showed a lot of promise in that game. He was trying things. He was doing things. He was running play. Like he looked like if he gets some good fitness under his belt, just game fitness, he could be an X factor one day for us. You know, like
go watch my YouTube on him, guys, because I've told you that this guy is one of the best. He was literally the best player in New South Wales Cup when he was playing. Like coming through flag, he was Cronulla's best player against our players like Mitch Woods and all that. So he is a phenomenal talent. Eamon Fitzgibbon played well for flag on the weekend. We're going to go through a little bit of that stuff as well. But I really want to talk about that, the fact that we've done a whole lot more with a lot less. And everyone we've brought to this club, those utilities on 200 grand each, 250 grand each, next to nothing, help give us instant success in getting back into the finals.
They've paid us back. They've paid us back.
And they've paid us back. And they do have a ceiling, guys. That's the thing. We've always said, we've never hidden from the fact that you have to develop a Cameron Murray, because if you don't have one. That's the whole thing. You have to develop a Payne Lahas, or you don't get one. Unless you're a club like Souths that is able to get 2 or 3 other players for half their market value. And I'm not saying they're cheating the cap, because I don't believe they are. I'm saying that they have they've had this core and they've been building these key juniors in their team for many seasons now while they've been struggling. They've actually been developing these kids, Duncan, Jai Gray. Like they've had to put a lot of work into these kids, and they've had some really poor results in juniors for a long time as well while they've done it. And we're sort of starting to struggle a little bit in the juniors, because our focus is getting individuals ready for NRL. When we first brought through a really good team, it was obviously just to get as much outside talent into our pathway, to shake up our local juniors, to see if they are made of the right stuff. You know, it's all part of the process, all part of the system. Ciraldo making mistakes with interchanges. He's had games where he's made mistakes with interchanges before. Sometimes it costs you, sometimes it doesn't. But tell me a coach that hasn't. Right? We act like it's doomsday. And these shitcasters, and that's what I'll call them, who sit there and they don't even they just look at the fact that we beat Newcastle and Souths, and then they finish, bottom 5 last year or whatever, and we beat them to 0 last year, that we've gone backwards because we couldn't beat them this year. Did you really think that having Galvin and Haywood and these youngsters, that they were just going to hit the ground and just be absolutely perfect from day one? I think they're going pretty good. Bailey Haywood's stats were amazing on the weekend. He still copped shit from people on social media, which I cannot believe. Like, oh, he's not a hooker. I know a hooker when I see one. Anything else quickly while I get these stats up? Gas?
Look, just I thought Lucky Galvin created a lot for us. There was a couple of passes he threw towards Montoya that Montoya was unfortunately behind the play a few times. One he nearly got to, and one he wasn't even there. So the passes that he was throwing, if there was a player there hitting that hugging that sideline, hitting that gap, it's a line break, and who knows what comes of it. So he was being very good creating that sort of play and getting us in that position. I think there was a lot of tired plays out there. Obviously towards the end of that game yesterday.
Montoya had 2 hit ups that set that he did did that where he
Correct.
wasn't at the
Correct.
So-
And that's why it's that's why there's always but
Context.
at the end of the day, the coach will look at it and say, look, maybe this, if you're tired, if you've had a few runs in that set, rather than stay so deep, maybe push up a bit. Maybe there's other ways as a winger. There's other ways to look at it as well. So maybe that's something that he could work on as well and be a bit more flatter in those times where he feel like he can't run onto it from that big depth. So, but from Lockie's perspective, he was being creative and he was doing what he had to do to get us a result. The effort was definitely there, and I think even from Eno Tawala, you can see why they put him in the team, guys. He has been training extremely well, and he's now showing that on the field.
Played very well.
Yeah,
I just want to answer Dark. I made the comparison that people said that those wingers were too slow for us to win a comp. So they got a lot of criticism, did Daryl Halligan and Haslam, like when they were forced to turn around and chase that. Like Haslam wasn't slow. He was so consistent with his speed and he maintained it the whole game. He was such a workhorse. And Halligan always tried his best. And there's just times where great teams and great halves and that exploited him, but he won a comp. And he was a great kicker as well. So you're right, they were great kickers.
Both great finishes too. Both great finishes though.
Very good finishes. Look, Montoya's there as an extra forward for us at the moment. And he does some good things too. But I think long term, we have players with a bit more finesse and a little bit more speed that don't have to do as many carries from the back, because once we develop those players that can play 80 minutes at 13, that could take hit-ups, pass like a halfback, get quick play the balls away, and defend all day in the middle. We have to develop that player. We have to develop our hookers that we've got. And we've got some good talent coming through in that regard. Patrick Young, from an attacking point of view, looks like a genius. But I've actually been impressed with Bailey's the way he brought people onto the ball on the weekend. And, it's not always great. And I thought some of his service was improved. And he's only going to get better and better and better. It's through repetition and time. It's not like, you improve the speed of your pass by, to be as fast as the best hooker in the game overnight or over 1 week. It takes years to get it to an adequate level. But Bronson Garlick's passing wasn't as good as Bailey Hayward's on the weekend. And his dad was a hooker. Sean, Garlo's Pies. But let's get into it before we look at some other comments. 32-24. I might put this over the other side so I can scroll it. They had 52% possession. I'm just going to turn the comments off, guys. But time in possession, they had about 1 minute and 46 seconds. Now, at halftime, did you get the halftime stat?
No, I didn't, mate. No.
That's all right. A good effort, though, bro. But our completion rate. So this is the point I wanted to make. I just remembered. They completed 14 more sets than us in the game. But at halftime, we'd completed more sets than them. So they had about a 16-set advantage in the second half. Okay? 16 sets advantage. If South Sydney with Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker, AJ, all these players, right? Campbell Graham, and some good talent in the middle. Jai Gray, he's just loves a game like that, doesn't he? Against any other team, including the Panthers, I believe they score 3 or 4 tries. They scored 3 tries in the second half. I think they scored 3 tries against the Panthers in that situation. I think against any other team in the comp, they score more than that. I honestly believe that. We tire teams out, guys, and we did that a fair bit. They thought that they were going to be out of petrol by the end of the game, and we'll see how good they play next week. We had 2 more runs than them in the game, and we made over 150 more meters in the game. Now, they're the ones who got the intercept. So remember that. Post contact, we won that for the first time all year. And we average post contact, we win that as well. It's basically even. That's a big win in effort for our team. All right. Line break 6-3. 2 of them was unfortunately against Sauce when he come on. Didn't count as missed tackles. He didn't get a hand on them. Tackle breaks, we won that stat. We haven't won. We're the worst in the comp at that stat, and we beat South, who've got Fafita, who've got Latrell, got all these big bastards who make tackle breaks. Well, we won that stat. So you can't say they didn't try to aim up, that they didn't go out there. And all them smart asses go, well, it's not the stat that counts and blah, blah, blah. The fact of the matter is, if Latrell knocks that ball on that he picked up was an amazing pickup that Tracy unfortunately dropped, which made people say Tracy's the worst fullback in the comp. Well done, guys. Great work. If they, just say Critter doesn't go off, even if they have all that possession and whatever, we end up winning that game. That's what I mean, guys. The outcome is that we lost. The outcome is that he did ground the ball. The outcome is that we scored 4 tries, created quite a few opportunities. They scored 5 tries, and they had 16 more sets than us in the second half. And we kept them to 3 tries. Like, you've got to look at that and go, well, we did hand them the game. Yes, it was on us. We didn't get the rub of the call with the referee. We were too ill-disciplined in order to take him out of the game. And, yeah, it just become something that just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I was as disappointed as everybody in that game. But when I look at it in context, I go, well, as I said, we can start talking about changes in our club and whatever else when those players go out there and don't give and don't do their best. If that's all you can do. You support your team, your colours. If they go out there and they try their hardest to win, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. Sitting there saying, if we had this player playing this position and this player playing that position, yeah, I do that too around Origin time. But in our club, look, it's all right to give ideas. I gave one on kick out the other day, but it doesn't. You say do it respectfully, and the disclaimer is, this is just what I think, but I'm not inside the 4 walls, so I don't get privy to all the information. And look, there are a few people who are sort of aware about stuff, their KPIs. You're saying he should have had to have played Bronson Cherry. Well, how was Bronson Cherry's KPIs last week? Why was he in the team? And I'll explain that with the rotation. Tackle breaks, we won. Average set distance, 9 metres more per set. Kick return meters, won that as well. Average play the balls, faster than the Rabbits. Offloads, we attempted more offloads than the Rabbits. Through one less pass, which is interesting. Usually we dominate that stat.
Less possession, though.
Less possession, though. So there you go. Less kicks, less kicking meters. Because we were just dropping the ball on set. When you're dropping the ball so much, you don't get to kick, do you? And we did 5 bombs to their 1, but only 1 grubber to their 6. And that's one of the areas we probably could have done. Our tackle efficiency, 90%. Theirs was 84. We ended up having to make an extra, 50, 60 more tackles, so an extra 10 sets of tackles. We missed less tackles than the Rabbits. That's been one of our best missed tackle results for a long, long time.
Well, Unfortunately. Bailey Hayward made 49 tackles, only missed 1.
Yep. And our ineffective tackles were way down on what they usually are. There was a stat there that killed us, 17 errors and conceding 8 penalties. 8 penalties is why you concede 17 errors. And we use 7 interchanges each. So let's get the player stats out there. Balio with 49. Carraz has 197. Everyone's saying Carraz isn't trying or he's unhappy. You know, they start creating these narratives. Got a bloke I used to call a mate, but I just realised he's just creating rumours everywhere he goes. Makes shit up. And he always does this thing where he's like, oh, the players, like, they're unhappy and blah, blah, blah. Well, I can tell you now, that's the biggest load of bullshit. They're unhappy when they lose, and they're unhappy when they're losing, yes. So there you go. Some most line breaks. Alex Johnston gets 3 to it. Connor Tracy had 1. And Ari Tuala, our biggest fantasy points getter. Look, as far as I thought Lachlan Galvin was one of the best, people are starting to say Max King isn't playing that well. Well, I felt he'll go a lot better. I always said Max King was a number 2 prop, Gas. I always said that.
Yep.
Last year, he evolved into a number 1 prop for us. And then he got that setback with the mold and whatever else. And it's actually normal for a player to flatten out once they get that hysteria and sugar hit of achieving origin, for example. Like we used to hear about, that was the biggest thing that Wayne Bennett used to talk about that. It's a real struggle with these young guys that would make origin in the forwards for the Broncos and getting them to come back up mentally as well. Now, Sam Hughes, I felt all his runs were good. He had great footwork yesterday. There was some real telling runs there that got us on the front foot. Played 25 minutes. It was back and forth in a grind. His post-contact was all right. 23 of 50 metres in post-contact. So nearly half his metres were past the advantage line. He's played a ball speed 2.69 seconds, and he makes 10 tackles without a miss. Kick out. Look, I think Viliami, 21 tackles. Preston, 34 tackles. They went our right edge a lot. He come in the middle a bit. Jamin Salmon worked hard. Again, criticised after the match by people. Kurt Mann, did you see him he put in some massive hits yesterday?
Yep.
Tilly played 40 minutes straight, but in that time we had the ball, he only had to make 14 tackles. Sean O'Sullivan, they ran at him and kept running at him once they saw that sort of doubt in his mind. The one thing I will say, though, he plays 20 minutes a week before. He hasn't had a lot of footy. So you got to take that into consideration. But I'm telling you, if Sean O'Sullivan didn't play the week before, he's not even in that side yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's where you got to understand with the rotation. They would have they might have brought Patrick Young in because he's on the supplementary list just to bring him there. They could literally bring in anyone. They've got 6 replacements. We'll talk about the rotations, though, when I get there. I thought Lipboy Hotboy was much better off the bench and tried his heart out. He could have scored a try early. Just stumbled. He plays 38 minutes and worked his ass off. And that's pretty much it. I felt that. Who was your favourite players, Gas, for the Bulldogs in our loss?
Look, I mentioned earlier Tuala, I thought played very well. I thought Lachie Galvin had a lot of energy and did a lot of things right. And I think he's really growing into that position every game he plays. At the start of the season, he was a bit one-dimensional, sort of hitting Preston a lot because obviously he got success with that against Penrith last year. So he went down that road and obviously got the try against the Dragons. But he's now started to vary his attack and he's starting to be more selective in his passing. And also, when the pass is not on, he's holding on to it. So he was showing a lot of good signs yesterday. And look, Tracy, for me, still obviously had that one error, but he's still rock solid at the back for us. Everything he does, he's very good. Just unfortunate with that knock on and obviously the intercept, but he's still very good. But Santilli, for me, still bringing a lot of energy to the game overall, changing. It's like Michael said quite a few times, guys. We can't start with him, and we won't have the same effect that we get with him when he comes on and changes the game. And when him and Kurt Mann came on yesterday, the game changed. We sort of went from holding on to basically getting on top, and that's exactly why we leave them for that time. So it's it's look for me. They all busted their balls and they all put their hearts on the line and did what they could. But at the end of the day, when you're conceding that many penalties and you're chasing points and you're making a lot of mistakes, it's gonna absolutely smash you. And we paid the price yesterday for doing that. And I still thought even when our captain went off, we could have won, but the guys just didn't adjust well enough for it. So
there was one play with Anari. It was when he doesn't pass inside to Santilli or Lipoi and then Santilli ends up getting the try in the corner. I think that cost us 2 points. But look, I'm not critical of it. I'm just saying at the time, if we don't end up scoring, he's going to get lambasted by.
Yeah.
This is what I mean, guys. Like, in my opinion, he nearly butchered a try, right? Or he did butcher that try on that play. But he backed himself, which I 100% love that he backed himself. But if just say we lose by 2 points and we don't score that try or whatever, like he's going to be absolutely roasted by our fans. And this is the precipice that our fans swing on due to outcomes and results. So we just call what we see, and we don't hold it against the players. We don't hold it against the club. I'm glad Ciraldo picked a player that he believed could do a job at a certain time. If that player fails, that player fails. Who are we to sit there and say that Cherry would have done a better job for us based on what he showed the week before in Cup? And he might have had a problem that day, and he might have been doing really well and been primed to play well yesterday. I don't know. Well, I do know that wasn't the case. But anyway, just for saying, as the average fan, you don't know. But this guy, we're gonna. Was there any, before I get into it? Was there anyone else you're really impressed with, buddy?
No. That's pretty much it, mate. Overall, that was everyone did what they had to do, but there's a lot of ups and downs in that game. But not too many more that really stood out more than anyone else.
Yeah. Look, Tracy is there's two things he lacks. To me, he's that level below. Like, I put him. Well, there's such a big core of teams, but I think he could represent nearly most teams in the comp as a really successful fullback. But he's not a superstar. I think we need to sign him because we've still got to wait for Tay Cochrane and Peru and hopefully Kay Dykes. And look, Tay comes on the second half and Dykes goes to 6 and he handles that just as well as any other position as well. So the point I'm making is that he's a really important piece of our puzzle to keep, and I'm glad that they're going to keep him. But like anyone, he's sitting there, they've called the move, and he's like, I'm throwing the ball over to the winger here. And what the great players do is their eyes go up a little bit beforehand, they react a little bit better, or they react and do things a bit differently. And that's the small percentage between a Tedesco and a Reece Walsh and all these players at their best, is that they can react and change on the run. The other thing he's got, I feel that he's really built himself up, and he's got pretty good speed over that short distance. But when he has to change direction, it's not as good as the elite fullbacks. one of the elite things about what I think why Jake Averillo still has an NRL career is because of that speed he has changing direction, which only some players can do. And I think the Dylan Edwardses are just, and the Teddies are just that little bit more robust and have that better acceleration through there. But I'm not being critical. I'm just talking a bit of reality here. And spoke to another mate today who was really watching the defensive stuff intently. And obviously when a team scores tries from kicks, the fullback gets called into question when he's got to play in the line to make sure that we get everything done, and then he's got to push off and go. And look, Dylan Edwards wasn't at the level he is at now 7 or 8 years ago, coming up to 100 games of NRL that he is now. So I think Tracy still has the ability to continually improve in the way that he can cover across and get to those situations and spoil a few more situations. But I just found it funny that 2 weeks ago, everyone was saying the club is ridiculous for not re-signing him. And now we've got, I must have read 100 comments saying that Tracy is shit, and heard some people in their little crybaby whinging in their shit cast. They want to be shitcast creators. Sorry, guys, don't dress up as clowns and go to the kennel and pretend you're the most proud player. And then when we lose, get on and start acting like an absolute fucktard for likes. Like, who raised you? Look, if it's making you money, I get it. It's a performance. It's Brafen has to, he gets told what he has to talk about every day he goes to NRL 360, right? And then on his podcast, it's in his best interest to also talk about those same headlines again. But he does, it's his job. He gets paid literally thousands and thousands of dollars to do it. If you're going to get $7 for a live reaction, that's actually influences people who see that and sort of look up to you as a great fan and respect you and love your content, you're actually influencing them to validate you and to back you, especially young fans, especially the younger ones. You're actually encouraging them to sit there and go and run their mouth off at players, to sit there and go and run their mouth off at coaches and the club and whatever else. Like, sometimes, look, it's not as deep as I'm probably making it out to be, but we are a membership club. We're not a private club, right? So we can have things traveling really well in our, we're already smashing the targets for everything sales-wise, corporate-wise, to what we were last year, which was a record year. We're already doing that, right? That can all fall apart and we can have no money and then, get some fools come in who sit there and then go and throw $1.6 million at a Tino or go and throw $2 million at a Nathan Cleary, and then he gets injured. And we've got no one to step up into his place because we can't manage a cap then. It's all right when you're building a club from scratch, but when you've had to tear it down and rebuild it, it takes time, and it's just a reality we have to face. G'day. Give us some chats, guys, before we get into how it all works. Give us some chats. Gas, go through them for me, mate.
Okay, mate. So many people here saying that it was a good Bunnies win, but the stats say otherwise. Without the AJ intercept, it could be closer. Second intercept in a row in 2 weeks for Tracy. Yep. Inari Tawala was actually impressive against Latrell. You can see, look, Tawala ended up making 30 tackles for the game with only one missed tackle. So obviously, there was talk during the week, we even raised it, whether we needed to change the centers or do anything different to factor that in. Majority of what they did was through kicks, guys. It wasn't through, and I'm one of those guys that still think that
Galvin
first
made 30
try,
as well.
there you go.
One missed tackle.
One missed
And he
tackle
was
as well.
hitting hard. Oh, he was hitting hard.
Yeah.
But they tried to. So obviously they attacked our right edge with their left, but you'd swear the commentators were like, they're actually attacking it more on the right edge. Why? Because Jai Gray got through Sauce.
Yeah.
G'day, Jay.
Yep. So proud of our boys. I think we had the game control. The performance was better than last week. Our line speed is getting there. Halves are improving. Team was vulnerable when Critter's out. Look, and we've seen that before, unfortunately. When we lose a captain during the game, it can obviously hurt you. I'm hoping now that sort of the realization is now that it's a grade 5 what he's done. So he could be out for, maybe up to a month or two. Hopefully not, but the team needs to just imagine that he's not there now and then work around that now. So, whatever.
I'll be 2 minutes, guys. I'll leave you with the chats for 2 minutes, Gas.
Yeah. So whatever they end up doing without Critter, whether they bring Cherry in as a straight swap or whatever they end up doing, the team needs to prepare for that now, and that's going to be what they have to do. Obviously, we still have a goal kicker. Everything else is still there. We just need everyone else needs to step up in his absence, to cover for that. So, Abraha, the point is the Dogs committed at 61%, almost impossible to win a game with 17 errors. 100%. But look, a lot of that obviously was from chasing as well late in the game. So there was a lot of those errors. And even the one where Carraz lost the ball, off our try line, we lost the challenge. We defended those. We defended all of those. So they were unfortunate ones that we were just trying to keep ourselves back, get ourselves back in the game. So there was a lot of those sort of basically like those crap errors that we were making chasing. So it's, you're trying to change the dynamics of the game, especially when you're on the back end of a poor penalty count, etc. You're trying to get things going, but sometimes it's what happens. For the year so far, we've been the best sort of handling wise, completion rates as well. G'day boys. What I'm scared of is that Critter is out now. How the team, we don't have any good record without him. Look, I'm hoping that the more that they do what they're doing, the more they see that the halves and what they've developed is improving. I still think the best player in our team, is Birdo. Galvin's filling out that halfback role well, so we need to keep sticking with, I think. And if Cherry ends up coming back in, then sometimes when you've been pulled out and they put you back in, sometimes you feel like I don't want to lose my spot again, and you really step up. So it's going to be interesting to see, and you can really sort of try to hang on to that. At this level, criticism should be expected. Yes, criticism's fine, guys, and everyone's entitled to their opinion, always. It's just when it becomes sort of derogatory to the players or personal attacks, that's when obviously it starts to getting too far. So thankfully on our site here, guys, everyone sort of knows what to expect, but I can't say the same for other sites and pages. 16 extra sets only to beat us by 8. Exactly, Brian. So huge effort. We're still, we're leaking a lot of points, obviously, but that's not sort of where we want to be. But at the end of the day, you have to look at it, guys. That possession flow, when it starts to change, when teams get on that penalty run, when the refs start, it's hard to control. Some teams, when you lose the ball sometimes, or you cop a penalty, you might not get the ball back for 10 minutes sometimes. And by that time, you might have conceded 2 or 3 tries, repeat sets, and you've absolutely smashed yourself in that process. So, yeah, the possession swings this year with the way that the rules are and everything, it's really causing a lot of teams to have that big swing in possession both ways. So you're never safe, and no lead is ever safe. Even yesterday, I felt like if we can just get 1 try, we can get back in it. Like it was always, we get a bit of possession, we can score. And we did that in the first half. We sort of felt like we were just running downhill. If we went another 10 minutes in that first half, we might have been leading by 20. So it's all possessions, guys, can help. Rabbits are not as impressive as everyone thinks. Look, they're also developing their team as well, but they've got a good foundation, guys. So so on their day, they will upset a lot of teams. Let's not forget South blew a few opportunities. AJ forward pass. I don't really think they're blowing opportunities. It was a forward pass. And Latrell's tap on, that's fine. He can tap that on as much as he wants. That's just poor play, to be honest. There's no need for that sort of stuff from him. Exactly. Not opportunities. They were forwards. Brian, mate, you did mention the ref. we were happy that we weren't getting Sutton, but looks like we got the next his twin brother going through a ball to Tuala. Tuala knocked it on. If we caught it, we would have tried. No, that was if you actually didn't knock it on. If you look at it, it was actually knocked down by the fullback. I had another look at that actually, and as he caught the ball, it looked like it was knocked out of his hand as he was basically going in to score the try. It was I think that was a touch by the fullback at the same time. I mean, I only saw it from the game and from the big screen, but I'd like to go back and watch it and see another angle. But I'm pretty sure Gray sort of got a hand to it as he was trying to basically come back in, but he still had the ball away from him. That's why he hadn't had a chance to pull it back in. It all happened so fast. We were ill-disciplined and dropped the ball too many times. 6-0 penalty count, 6 agains in the second half, and only got beat by 8. And that's what I said earlier, guys. The team didn't give up, and that's why I'm saying we don't give up on our team. We need to be backing this team because they're still backing themselves. There's other teams that might have better players, faster players, more accomplished combinations, everything else, but our team doesn't feel like they, shy away from all that. And that's why I believe our team will still be training this week with an ambush in their mind against the Panthers. So, I never, ever go to a game expecting that we're going to lose, as much as everyone's hoping that we're putting a good performance, but, Panthers are going to smash us, and that's based on what everything's been this year. Absolutely. That's how it's shaping up. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, that's what everyone's focusing on. It's going to be a blowout. It's going to be X, Y, Z. But our team won't believe that, guys. They'll be going in there expecting that they can upset them, get a win. Panthers are due to have an off game, whatever it might be. That's the preparation they're doing. And also all this sort of criticism and everything else and self-doubt and whatever, they want to lift themselves up from that and get themselves back on track. So for them, they're going to be putting in a good showing and covering Critter's absence and moving on, guys. So Kikau will be our captain and we move on. Subox, you're a bit late there, mate. Thank you for joining. We were all a bit upset. We mentioned earlier as well, Sub, that the coaching can only make a decision based on the information they got. And I felt like the information that came from the trainers was that there was an optimism in regards to Critter actually getting a needle and coming back out. So that was, I think, the main factor that didn't get Cherry on the field. Had they said that Critter is completely ruled out, on his feet, he already was taking his bib off. He was ready to come on. I think when they told him that they could get him out there in 10 minutes and just needle him up, he basically went for the player he was expecting to put out there during the game at some point anyway. You heard that Wade Graham said, well, there you go, mate. That's exactly what I was just referring to there. So there was that opportunity. Dogs have so many issues. They're nowhere near a premiership window. Look, we are still way ahead of where we were 3 years ago. We're still building in the right direction. And I still feel like within the next 2 years, potentially half that team that you see on the field will be different than what we've got now. So keep faith, guys. Keep believing. We're building. And a lot of those juniors and a lot of the players that we've got coming through, that Gus has been working so well to develop all those pathways, these players are getting ready. So there's going to be so much more happening in the next few years, but we keep believing, we keep pushing, and you never know, guys. You never know. Rocks on back. Well, look, to be honest with you, that's the best fullback option we've got right now, and Tracy's been doing an amazing job. At the end of the day, that's the result that we got. You're going to make mistakes. You call Reece Walsh rocks and diamonds. That's what you're going to do, guys. So we don't have a Reece Walsh. We don't have, some of these players that have got all. But I honestly believe that with Tracy as well, Michael mentioned earlier that his running game, he doesn't change direction. If you've had a few knee reconstructions, sometimes stepping off your feet, and changing that direction really fast, you might be sometimes a bit apprehensive. I'm not sure, but I would definitely be if I was in that position. We were up 18-12 when Critter goes down instead of putting a player. So, yeah, we spoke about that earlier. Ciro basically went with the decision based on what he was told by his trainers that Critter was coming back on. So I'm not sure if you joined us earlier, but that's the decision that Ciraldo made based on the information that he got there, guys. So he already had Cherry on his feet, ready to go, and then they told him that he's coming back, so he went back for the safer play. Predictions for the match against Panthers. Do we think it'll be close or will it be a flogging? I'll wait for Michael to come back and we'll have a chat about that, guys. Penrith is just on a completely on another level, breaking records and stats all over the place. But what goes up must come down eventually. So let's hope it's on Thursday night, guys. Make sure you come out and join us and see Panthers will blast off the park. That's a common theme out there. People are expecting it. Look, if it makes people better about the fact that they're going so well and we're not, and that if we end up losing, they'll say, "I told you so. I knew we were going to lose." That's fine. That helps people. I think an issue is the doubt in the coaching staff influencing some of their decision making. So there's a lot of information that comes to the coaches, guys. A lot of information. They've got analysts. They've got people there. If you look in the coaches box, there's a lot of people there. Everyone's got different information, different statistics, different. They look at so many things. The analysis is just sometimes it could be way too much. To give an example, Wayne Bennett has the same people doing all these statistics, and he basically leaves it for the assistants, and he just plays things on gut feel as well. So he knows everything that's going on, but he'll play things on gut feel as well. So he won't just always do, So sometimes you can have a lot of information, and it can get a bit confusing, and you can overthink it sometimes. But the coaches do what they think is in the best interest based on the best strike result. That's how they look at it. So I will say one thing, guys. On the way out yesterday, I caught up with Mitch Woods. Caught up with him in the car park below the stadium as I was driving out, and there was a steely look in his eye, guys. He said to me he's only a few weeks away. I told him we need you out there, mate, and he's pretty pumped, guys. He wants to get out there. He wants to get on the field and start proving himself in cup, etc. And when he gets his opportunity, he wants to make a difference, guys. He's pretty keen and he's ready to go. So as soon as he gets back on the field and he's over his injuries, let's hope he has a great long career with the Dogs. Talking about solving problems that don't exist. Look, I'm not sure. Look, the coach is going to say, like Michael said, he's going to say what he's going to say in that press conference.
I need to talk.
Yep. Go for it, mate. Talk.
Good job, brother. Look, the coach is going to say whatever the coach says. At the end of the day, Bennett says whatever he wants. Ciraldo can say whatever he wants. Means nothing. I think he's quite good with the messages that he puts out there, and he's very respectable. But inside the four walls, they know what they're doing. All this stuff where people want to beat their chests on one decision, at the end of the day, the communicator stuff, that's actually true. Kickout and Burton don't talk. Bradley Clyde never used to talk on the field. He was a leader. I think they made him a captain for a while. Big Mao wasn't a huge talker. Even when he coached Queensland, he barely did massive addresses. You'd see Michael Hagan would talk a lot more than Mao, from what I've been told. He talks to people quietly and has a discussion with them. That's what Ciraldo does that too. But Kikau's never been a talker. Birdo's, they made him captain to try and bring that out of him. Reid used to stutter and stumble when he first was given that sort of leadership role at the club. Fucking it played on his mind. His passing at the Bulldogs was nowhere near as good as what it was at Parramatta. Started to get back on track in 24, but he struggled with the captaincy. He struggled with the leadership. Not everything's going to be perfect. I think, look, name your teams, name the players you think that should come in. That's all good. But when you sit there and start saying you know more than the coach, you're just delusional. I think most of the fanfare around Ciraldo as the golden child isn't an excuse. Just because the media and that have painted him as the saviour, and because Gus has a great relationship and knows he's a very good coach with very good coaching ideals and has a work ethic that will translate through our culture, they're not calling himself golden child. Ciraldo gets up early every day and goes to bed late. He does not stop working. He's a workaholic for this club and this team. He doesn't stop learning. So it's all right for him to say we learn every day. People can say, oh, I'm sick of hearing we're going to make lessons, blah, blah, blah. We did make lessons. We progressed. It's round 5 off a slow start with a bye in round 2. I kept saying this. Gus warned you all at the start of the season. It'll take a massive effort to bank points early. He said that. Ciraldo was really unhappy with the timing of the bye because he sort of got used to having this 3-stage approach to his season. And he'd be hurting more than anyone that the final stages haven't really gone the way they wanted to because of injuries and stuff. Then there's the other elephant in the room. The fact that we brought in a lot of people. We've brought in players into our system that have been injured and given opportunities to players from the outside where there's been juniors there who really have come through, you know, Harold Matts, SG Ball, Flegg, getting into cup, and then they can't progress to that next level within the club. They go somewhere else and they're getting a gig. But apart from Averillo and Alamotti, I don't really know which player has made it in the NRL out of our juniors that have gone somewhere else. Yet I hear that quite a bit. I think there's a lot of misperceptions out there, and there's all loyalty to, you know, you come through a grade with a bunch of mates and all the parents know each other and stuff. And then when that kid doesn't get the upgrade and then they bring in someone like a Dykes or a Galvin or, you know, a DSF, it does have an effect. It does disrupt your junior base. But if those juniors, if they believed those juniors were going to be quality NRL players that could make the team better right now through their consistency, through their work rate and their talent, they'd get the upgrade. They haven't been upgraded because the club hasn't seen them as the best fit for the club. Simple as that. Doesn't mean they can't go to another club and reach their potential and become great NRL players. That's just the business. That's business. That's what happens. We don't have to ride every decision as a bad decision. Like the very fact that we're saying sack our assistant coach, like, what the fuck? Because it suits a narrative in your brain that they were the worst attacking team last year, Newcastle. They've had a lot of injuries the last 2 years. They were pretty good in 2023 with that coach. They put 66 on us, right? He's won 2 comps as an assistant coach, as the attacking coach. So what are we talking about? Like, I don't know another fan base that's like, sack the assistant coach. But us, why? Suck our head of football. Oh, maybe they should go and sack Frank Panisi and Craig Bellamy. Their season's over. They've got 50 on them.
Gone. It's finished.
Yeah, Timmy, numbers and curses and stats mean nothing, but sometimes they do. They stack up over time. It's hard for a team to come back from a 50-point loss. How long since we've had a 50-point loss? 2023. Could it happen against Penrith? Well, Melbourne completed at 90%, had 50 put on them. They got the Queensland hooker, the New Zealand 7, the Queensland 6, and a fullback who looks like he's going to play. I think he's actually a Melbourne product for a long.
He can do whatever he wants to do. He's that good. His ceiling is anywhere.
But, of course, they've got some reasons and excuses. They lost one of their major attacking players off an edge.
Yes.
Like that Moses Leo, his first 2 games, he looked like he's going to be anything. Then having to back up again, gets targeted in defence. What starts to happen? You miss a tackle, you drop some balls. Like, it's all part of the process. It's all part of it. We act like it's brand new every time, like we're going to fall apart. And look, I know this is why we built this community, guys, so that we can come here and parents of players. I know parents of players watch this because they message me and they're grateful, right? And even they go through moments where they question things in their heads because they are parents and they're loyal to their kids. Things aren't working for their kids. Of course, they're going to question it. It's the nature of being a parent. I'm my daughter's and my son's biggest fans. They're not my biggest fan, but until they see me wallet. That's right, Henry. Love the Dogs win or lose. A few years ago, we were fighting for the wooden spoon, so we're going in the right direction. Give me some more stuff. We've got Harry Hayes hopefully back next week, so we'll start to look ahead at that. Damo, thoughts on Sauce coming on instead of Cherry? Yeah, look, we've explained a number of times. They thought it was a temporary move, but let's get into the way interchanges works, guys. So I'm going to share this up. Is that back on there for us? There we go. Let's get the team list up there. What am I doing? All right, here we go. So I said to everybody, they play 16 players, right? So our rotation, it didn't matter what the numbers were on their back. Once Harry Hayes come out of the team, they just move the numbers up. So it stays in numerical order. And then they might actually like swap a player who's come in as from a reserve in with the player that's out, which is normal. But our rotation, as I told everyone, was Kurt Mann, which replaces Salmon. Sometimes goes into hooker when they give Bailey a rest. Satili Tupanua replaces Max King or Sam Hughes. Now, Sean O'Sullivan was one of the 3 players, which is Sean O'Sullivan, Bronson Cherry, and Logan Spinks. One of those 3 players was going to be utilised. I think plan A was always going to be Sean O'Sullivan. And I think plan C was going to be Bronson Cherry. If that scenario happened, if it was clear cut, I think he comes on. If and hopefully gets to resurrect himself and we go on and win a game because we're in front. It didn't happen that way. But Lipboy Hotboy was always going to be the third person. So he was going to come in and replace Harry Hayes as the third person. Now, the way it works is Sean O'Sullivan played 20 minutes last week, so he can be on that extended bench again. We had Jake Turpin named in that side. Now, he was injured the week before. They had to guarantee that Jake Turpin got minutes, so he had to play Cup because New South Wales Cup was before. Now, if New South Wales Cup was on today or Sunday, they could have picked anyone in that 6. And then if they don't get a run, they know they can back up on the Cup game after the NRL. But because it's before the NRL, or if it's on the same day at a different venue, they have to put guarantee players minutes, especially this time of season, people. At this time of season, all the clubs, if they've got a player who's missed a week of playing football, he needs to go and play New South Wales Cup or Reserve or Queensland Cup or whatever they do for their team to get some miles in his legs guaranteed if that game is leading up to the NRL match. So that's why Turpin didn't stay in the squad. Logan has been playing week in, week out in New South Wales Cup, so he could come in and be a fresh reserve on that 6-man rotation. Sean O'Sullivan played last week, so he'd had some minutes. And he played, I think, nearly a full game in Cup the week before that. So he's got a bit of fitness there, right? Would definitely not be at full fitness. Lipboy Hotboy played in the middle to start last week. So he was always going to be on that part of that rotation. Now, because he got minutes last week, he was going to stay as that third option. If Harry Hayes played, he would have stayed as that third option. Harry Hayes is out. He comes in as the first player in. Bronson Cherry. Now, just say Jethro Renikama was fit all year, and Jonathan Sewer and Cade Dykes, right? Let's just say that. All those are in the top 30 or supplementary list. If they were all fit, Bronson wouldn't have been in the team this week. Just letting you know that. And that's not to say he isn't doing the right things and coming through, but based on his Cup game the week before, unless there was some real good excuse for it that we can't see, he sort of had to come into this first grade squad because Sewer needed to guarantee time in his legs. Now, apparently Sewer after the game he's hobbling around, could hardly walk with his knee completely strapped, so hopefully he's all right. Jethro seemed to get through the game all right in Cup. Going to talk about Cup in a moment, if you haven't said too much about it already, Gas. So the way it works is if you didn't play the week before, you have to play in Cup or be named in that first 3 rotations for NRL. If you're on that extended bench and you haven't played in a game the week before, and Cup's going to be the same day or preceding the NRL, you've got to go back to Cup to get guaranteed miles in your legs. That's how it works for every team at the moment.
So next week, we play on Thursday and Cup is played on Friday.
So this week, right. So when
this week, yep.
Yep, so that's a really good point, Gas. So we can sit there and say that, well, Bronson got no game time, but if they believe he's the man to cover again, and they don't want to put him in the side, and they just say they go with Sauce at 7, Burton at 3, and Galvin at 6, which will make everyone know. They'll probably have Sauce in the number 6 just to piss everyone off. And he won't play 6, by the way.
He'll still be first receiver.
So Harry Hayes will come into the side. Lipboy Hotboy will remain on that as that top 6 player, I believe. They'll need to get another run for DSF and AJ Jones in New South Wales Cup. Finn Alatu, hopefully he's got no injuries. Someone was saying, was he injured? I hope not. I haven't heard anything. He'll need more time, another game in Cup next week. But they could literally, if they wanted to, say put Finau Latu on the 6-man bench, and if he doesn't get a run, he plays the next day in New South Wales Cup because it doesn't matter. But if Cup's beforehand, they've got to guarantee players that need miles in their legs that run in Cup first. That's just the way it is. So, in my opinion, if Jonathan Sewer, for example, just say he played some minutes last week, he would have been the backup this week, in my humble opinion. There just hasn't been anyone else because Rinnick Harben's been injured. Only came back last week. You know, Jed Reardon's not in the top 30 or the I don't think he's on the supplementary list either. He might be. I don't think he is. You know, they could go to someone like Sasai Alatini, but I don't think Sasai's ready for NRL in that capacity yet.
Neither Cooper Toy as well.
Cooper Toy, but he's not on their supplementary list, is he?
No.
So he can't play unless they were to get an exception
After round 10. Yeah.
After round 10, that's right. So that'll change things as well. After round 10, it'll be
very limited.
We are so limited in the outside backs, which is why we probably need to keep Cherry, which is why if we look at it and go, well, maybe it would have been, in hindsight, if he does play, it's actually good for the club in the fact he gets some miles in his legs back in NRL. Hopefully he doesn't make a meal of it. And we go on and win and he gets to sing the team song as part of the boys. You know, that would have been fantastic. Didn't happen that way. But doesn't mean we have a big conniption about it and say Ciraldo can't coach. The pathway to success has to be with mistakes and with things that with retrospective review, holding yourself accountable. You go, well, would I have made the same decision again? Probably. Did it turn out as the right decision? No. Does it mean I'm going to abandon everything we've been working on over the entire preseason after 5 rounds? Hell no. Like, and this is the thing I don't understand, Gas, about the ex-players stuff. So you sit there and watch Chad Townsend, for example. They all take advantage of the narratives that come from fans. This is what I mean. They're not creating the narrative. They're just shaping it for you. We create it. So they know fans, part of being the culture of being a rugby league fan is writing out your best team that you would pick, all that sort of shit. We all do it. I do it every day. I'll sit there and write 20 state of origin sides every week. And they go, oh, shit, I forgot about this player. And then, you know, because that's just what I love to do. It's part of being a fan, right? These Bulldogs players, I'm fucking losing the plot now, but it doesn't mean you know more. It doesn't. Pick your teams, right? But these guys understand. Oh, sorry, I was making a point. So Chad Townsend was sitting there and saying, guys, they need to put Sauce at 7 till Woods is ready. You know, some of them don't even realise Woods is fucking injured. That's how off the mark they are. You know, they're just going on hearsay and through fan sentiment and take advantage of it because it gives them clicks because people go, yeah, that's what I said. Chad agrees with me. Chad Townsend, Premiership winning halfback, agrees with what I said. And people say it like they're the only people who've fucking said it. Yeah, that's what I said. I said that Sauce should be 7 and Burton should be a centre because Burton won the centre of the year and he's been picked for New South Wales as a centre. He won a grand final as a centre. He's always been a centre. No, he wasn't. He was just a good player that they put there, like they put Turbo at centre and Latrell at centre. They're all playing fullback and other spots.
How many games has Turbo played at fullback for New South Wales?
None.
0.
That's right.
Where does he play every week?
Fullback.
Exactly. So that's what they do.
Burton won a game as a rookie with a field goal for Penrith.
Yep.
When he maybe on his debut or his second or third game.
He got man of the match. He got man of the match
on his debut as a half.
Yep, I remember.
I think he was playing 7.
Yeah, I remember watching it. It was an origin game. Like they were all out and he came in and he killed it.
And they won. Yeah.
Yep.
But apparently he's like, oh, he hasn't got many tries just. So we play as a team. We do things the way we've got to do them to bank points. We're not the most creative team. We don't have the best attack. It's a fact.
Tony Sexton had the least amount of try assists out of anyone in our team last year. Everybody kept thinking he was the reason we weren't scoring tries. Our team doesn't work that way. Our team works in a different way. And that's how you got to look at it. That's why every week we're struggling to pick who was our best player and what was happening and who did. It's just effort. All the players. Kurt Mann is more of a half than some of the other halves when he comes on. Everything is different with the way that the Dogs play, their structure.
Exactly.
Because they have to use the strengths they've got with the players they've got. So that's why if you look at Sexton's results last year, people say he was the reason we went. No, you go through his stats and have a look at how many try assists he did, and then tell me how many games did he ice at the end of a game, and then come back. But all he did was he was very good defensively. He did his job, what he had to do, and he supported the team. Everyone did that job well. That's it. And obviously last year when he was there, we had a super soft draw to start the year. Only one team that we beat at the start of the year was in the top 8 when we had that good run at the start. Everyone else missed the top 8. It was only the Sharks we beat 16-8 or whatever it was. So there's a lot of things we can look at. Everyone keeps going back to we would have been winning the grand final if we didn't make those changes and do what we had to do. So, and just don't forget, we're not, Galvin's playing now as a 20-year-old. How many 20-year-olds do you know straight away have to be at their best in their career? No one else that I can remember that's out there now. Cleary and all these other guys were doing what they're doing now when they were 20.
No.
So we don't have Galvin there for what he's doing now. We're developing him. We're getting him to the position we want him to be, wherever that might be in the team. He's getting there.
Look, I actually like what Andrew Johns did the other day. He got asked some intelligent questions about like what a halfback should be doing. So this is the whole thing is that we have all these experts who sit there and go, oh, he's not a 6, he's not a 7, they're this, they're that. But they don't actually tell you the how. They keep it to themselves and just go with the narratives. Because the average fan, and this is me half the time as well, like I actually have to work hard to look at things and try and understand things, right? When I see it in real time, I'm like hoping for the break. I usually see things coming against us a lot quicker than I see things working for us, which is probably been sort of, that's just sort of been brought upon us from having so much crap. We could see the signs of where we're going to open up. Oh, here we go. We're going here. We can see this a long way out, better at seeing our defensive lapses than our attacking plays. A lot of people are just like, they sit there and go, the attack's really shit. Then we score 5 tries. Our attack was good. Okay. Because the scoreboard changed, but you could have 10 line breaks and fail on the last pass every time. Your attack wasn't bad. You just executed poorly. Like, this is just the shit we're trying to say differently. It's next week's game. What are we doing there? What are we doing with our team? Who's coming in? I might actually write it out. Get some more chats going there, buddy.
Yeah, no problem, mate. We need to pick our best players in their best position, then back them. But we think of these edge cases and try to account for them. So, yeah, we've spoken about that a lot today.
Well, that's what the fans do that. The fans do that. The coach fucking isn't. The fans do that. The coach isn't. Coach doesn't give a shit what the fans think, and neither should he. And they're the worst comments when fans say, oh, these coaches don't listen to us. Exactly. If they did, we should sack them immediately. And anyone who says that, like Seabold, I think we all knew he was going to get sacked. But the fact that owner come in and said that he was unhappy because he wouldn't play that Joey Walsh yet, that's when you're in trouble as a privately owned organisation, when the owner starts telling you to change players in your team. or you're going to lose your job. Glad we don't have that. What do you reckon there?
Yep. So, Sub saying, I think we need to bring in some fresh energy, AJ, Sewer, etc. So, look, all these guys are always. Look, I'm looking forward to the day that AJ comes in. I think he's got that enforcer mentality about him.
He's not ready. His fitness is really down at the moment.
Yeah.
And this is just the thing they're struggling with, getting the players to a level of fitness. There's been setbacks with suspensions and everything else. It's early. It's early, right? It's early in the season. Keep going, bro.
Yep. So Nicholas is asking our best options for next week. So Michael's working on that for you now. So we'll come back to that shortly. Our team will be hoping Panthers think it's going to be an easy one, as everyone else thinks it is. Yeah, let's hope that there's they're flying after 5 games. Eventually, you got to just take your foot off a little bit somewhere, and let's hope it's this week. Although, with so many Panther sort of situations in our team, they're always going to be lifting themselves for that game, and Cleary's always going to have a point to prove, and et cetera, et cetera. So, still, you never know, guys. Cleary could get smashed in the first few minutes and hurt himself or whatever, and the whole game could open up. You never know. Every game you go in there, you got to go in there thinking you can win, and then you go from there. So, how many people picked Manly to smash? Who did they smash the other day by 1,000 points?
Dolphins at home.
Who would have picked that, guys? Even in all this theory about, the coach that comes in always wins his game or always does well, who would have picked that score? You never know, guys. You never know. Things could happen. Games could change, etc. Look at the State of Origin a couple of years ago. The Blues were on top. Swalihi gets sent off, and that's it. We're going to play with 12 men for the rest of the game. It's all over. Things happen, guys. Just play it out. 5 players returned from injury in Cup yesterday. It'll take them, yes, 100%, Timmy. So the Bulldogs in their Cup, we've got a lot of players coming back. And actually, that's more important to them at the moment than winning these Cup games. That's the truth. Their focus, look at Tay Cochrane, how well he's been playing. They put him on the bench. They wanted Cade Dykes to be playing. So all the players that they wanted, Jethro, they put them straight in the team, guys. You need to keep developing these guys. You need to keep putting minutes in them. You need to get their confidence up. Because the moment something happens, like Critter goes down or whatever it happens, the next man up needs to be ready. So that's what they're doing.
If they wanted to win New South Wales Cup yesterday, they could have put DSF to first grade, put Turpin to first grade. They could have played Sewer and Cherry and all these players. Brought O'Sullivan back in. They can pick all those players to win Cup. They would have kept Tay Cochrane a fullback because he's fit. He's going all right. He's going good. He's developing. But they need to get Miles into Cade Dykes' legs because they know that he is as that size and that talent with his passing and just an on-ball player that gets involved. If they can get this guy right, he is going to push. He will be ready as soon as he's fit. That's the whole thing. He'll be ready for first grade. As soon as he gets fit, he'll be ready. Might take a while, though. So they've got to do that. They've got to work on these players. But they've also got to keep Tay Cochrane ticking over. So that was all right to give him a little bit of a break off the bench. It's not a bit. It's about building the club, not about winning everything that they play every time. I had all these people going, they were disgusting. Like, they struggled with fitness and they gave away the same sort of tale. Like some of the penalties against our Bulldogs in that New South Wales Cup was disgusting.
Yeah,
they were even worse. But that's what I've said all year. For a lot of teams, for all teams in these juniors, that the refs, they see an infringement in any instance, and they blow it. And they get encouraged to do it. Then they get to NRL, and if they make too many infringements, they get dropped. Who'd want to be a ref?
Vicious cycle. Vicious cycle.
Vicious cycle.
Nicholas is asking, if we look at the market, who do you think would benefit us to look for what position?
Look, I'd be it's a hard one. I think we need just another handy outside back for depth, or hopefully ones that just hopefully look. We need to get through the year, and hopefully get some luck with these Rinakamas and all that, and then they come in. We've just got too many injuries at the moment, and some of the ones that would have been in position to potentially play that role, some of those left the club and they weren't kicked out of the club. You know, they left because they, got put to Ron Massey or they didn't like things. Just another thing, clip this, David Bryanton has gone back to Queensland. Apparently bought a plane ticket, jumped on the plane and left. And something to do with family reasons. I hope that he comes back one day. So big loss for the club. Great player. Kids get homesick. Oliver Smith did the same thing. Just left, up and left. Abandoned the club. This happens with kids when you bring them from the outside. But it gives opportunities to others. And look, Raymond Peru is very good at fullback on the weekend. Look, I'm excited about him, and so is a lot of people for good reason. But I was also excited about David Bryanton. Latrell Fing looks great. Got some other ones coming through. We
don't know what's happening in their lives, mate. So we got to respect that and support them as best we can. And whatever they decide to do, guys, we'll be supporting them as well. Harry will be back next week. He does a lot of defensive work, gives us quick meters and play the balls. Yes. Harry has become one of those guys that's become very important to the team. But also he cleans up a lot of mess as well, guys. Like, he's done it numerous times where he'll think he's an outside back like he used to be and just clean up, balls in the in-goal area, whatever it is. He's very, very good like that. So, there's a lot of good stuff to have Harry back. Timmy, I think we spoke about that one earlier as well, and I think you've got another response to that later. Every time Connor tries to play the ball, he throws an intercept 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, that's not every time. That's just 2 weeks in a row.
And he threw a couple of good ones last year, if you remember, to Carraz on the right side there. Hit some great passes. Look, it's just a confidence thing sometimes. It's just, and it's not from a lack of trying, guys. He's trying to do the right thing. He probably could have just ballooned that one up a little bit more yesterday. That's all. Who knows? That's it. But obviously he's thinking if he gets it up too high, by the time it gets down there, they lose the impact of running on that ball. So, at least he's trying these things, guys. I mean, we'd like to see a bit more result out of them or lack of intercepts naturally. But trust me, he'll be working on that part of his game every week at training because he's one of the hardest workers out there as well. I reckon we're ahead of where we were this time last year, even with the losses. It was humming before Critter went down. Yeah, look, guys, I agree. I think the team is still building into what they want to do, and it's still very, very early. I've seen enough attack-wise this year to suggest that there's a lot coming. And yesterday, I felt like in that first half, we started to believe in ourselves in regards to just having that confidence to attack. And I was glad they sort of psychologically hit that 20-point mark because obviously we haven't hit 20 points this year yet. So just to hit that 24, just in their mind, I know it was still in a losing cause, but it'll just allow them to feel like it's coming. Sometimes you just need to break the shackles, guys, like anything else. You know what I mean? Once you've done it, then you just keep going. And, I'm hoping that's going to keep pushing them through. Mohammed, it's not good as soon as Critter comes into our team. Just turned off. Critter cannot run the team. We always rely on him to deliver. Look, I don't think it was just Critter coming off. It was obviously a big factor. He does have an important role in the team. But basically, when he's on the team, when he's on the field, the right side attack now, like running to his left, sort of just know that that's just a no way through more often than not. You know, putting aside the Newcastle game, it's just so hard to get past him, etc. So you have to look for other ways. So they started attacking us down that right when he went off. So yes, there's different things, but his leadership, yes, he's been this year. His stats, his running meters have been more than any year that he's ever played. Running meters, post contact. He's actually been training very well, being super fit. So he's an important part of our team. Even at the point where he went off, I think he still had about 90 run meters, and that was 3 minutes into the second half. So still doing his job, but as a leader, 100%. But Kikau will be our captain, and he'll do an amazing job, guys. He'll lift the team and get them going as well.
I'm going to run through some now, buddy.
Please do, sir.
We need to drop Marcelo Tuala goes at 5. Marcelo's not going to get dropped, mate. He's playing well. As I said, fatigue errors, whatever. It's about our defence. We need to understand that. Yeah, we've conceded, 9 tries the last 2 games. Scored 7. It's an improvement in attack, but defensively, there's reasons why that happened. Yeah, that's your opinion. The club's not going to do it. I can tell you that right now. We need to keep the structure in place to have the best chance to win. If you go and sit there and put players in that haven't got the reps with the rest of the team the way you need, you've got to bring them into a team that's functioning and confident. And I think they still have a lot of belief. I could tell that even at the end of the game, the last 2 games, they believe that they could turn it around. And they're not at full fitness, guys. I'll keep saying this. All these people who think that, I hear another podcast, they've been there since November. How could they not be fit? Like, don't say those things unless you understand. Look at me. I'm the epitome of fitness. I understand it. Anyway, so I really think Kikau should move to front row. Well, we talked a little bit about that, but of course he's going to gas hard. He fucking works harder than nearly everyone.
Yeah, he's a hard worker. Definitely does a lot, especially defensively, guys. I think Mike was just frozen a bit there, but definitely defensively, he runs it super hard and makes sure that he's always the first guy making contact with that fullback.
There we go. Sorry, guys.
A little bit fuzzy there, mate.
Yeah, went a bit crazy. But look, I think it'll be all right in the future, guys. No, we don't need a new fullback. I mean, tell me who the fullback is that's gonna do the job right now. And I reckon Marcelo Montel will be extended. I don't even think he's off contract, is he? Is he off contract, Gas?
I couldn't have the top of my head, mate.
Yeah, I think Marcelo will retire at the Bulldogs, guys, just quietly. And whether that's in New South Wales Cup or whatever, he's a great clubman, and it's not just about what they do on the field as well. And it's good to have someone like him in your club. Do we want better, faster, more skillful, that is just as tough? Of course we do. But do we have that ready right now? No. Can you just go buy that? Obviously not.
Keep developing, mate. Keep developing.
We're developing. Yeah, your comments have been going through, mate, but on these reviews, it's hard to always get your comments out. And I don't like to say this, but if you do a super chat, it comes to the front. We see it.
Where are the super chats today, guys? Come on. Help out. Got to help out Michael, guys. Got to help the man out. He's giving it all back anyway. I don't know why he keeps saying he's giving it all back.
I give it all back, guys, but it's all right.
Giving it all back, guys.
They'll be giving the super chats on Tuesday, as they usually do, I'm sure.
That's it, guys.
But I don't take it for granted. Whatever, guys. I'm happy. We've got a lot more members. We're doubling memberships. It's going good. We're going without Critter against Penrith. Oh, look, guys, if I'm a betting man, I'm not betting on the Bulldogs. But as someone who's backs the Bulldogs, I'll be believing they can win that game, and so will they. And get out there and support them. Look, fans have become so self-protective that they're just writing the team off, acting like these shitcasters, outrage people, so that they don't have to feel the disappointment of having hope and then having it torn away. We're here to give you hope, and if it doesn't work out, the boys just weren't good enough. Next week, on to next week. Let's go. People wanted to believe we weren't still in the rebuild, and people don't want to hear that we're still building, and we don't want excuses and blah blah blah, fucking blah. The reality is reality. Reed and Sexton weren't going to be our options for this year. Reed, if he was prepared to stay for this year, could have helped us a lot, actually. But I think Bailey Hayward will be an elite 9 much quicker because of it. Does that give us a little dip? In some games, yes, maybe, but I felt he was one of our best players on the weekend and got no raps whatsoever.
He ran out of dummy half twice, tried to get a penalty on the first one, then he went for another one. But I think the more that he does it, the more he'll get confidence. And I like to see him start to do that as he gets more into the games, because what he'll do is he'll start to make the defense think twice. So every time he takes a couple of runs, and then he'll be able to get into his normal game and do what he wants to do. But just every time you do it, because at the moment everyone knows, he's not going to run, so just be ready for. But that play that he did against Canberra, where he went one way and turned it back inside to track, those kinds of plays, he'll start to have those come in more when he starts to run, and that's just going to be a confidence, guys. He's been focusing on on everything strategically that the Bulldogs want him to do, but as the game develops, he'll start to run. Because if you notice, most of the games, a lot of the changes in game momentums can start off with those hookers or dummy half runs where something happens. So for us to have that as well and create something from it is going to be beneficial to us in the long run. But it'll keep coming, guys. It's getting there.
I felt the kick that he put in from dummy half was the right moment. Never overplayed his hand, and it still turned them around, and we got momentum from it anyway. And we restricted their meters. The Rabbits, they were gas coming out of yardage. They struggled. We had them by the throat. Yep, we let it go, but that's rugby league. It happens. I'd rather have been us than Melbourne on the weekend, but we get the opportunity to be Melbourne on Thursday. And I'll tell you what, Melbourne didn't. I don't think they gave up. They just got outplayed. If you go out there and get outplayed by a good football team, don't mock your own team just to make yourself feel better.
Everything they did worked for the Panthers. It was just one of those things. Fino played limited minutes yesterday, guys. He came on. He only played 20 minutes. I think took about 8 hit-ups for about 69 metres, or 6 hit-ups. Only had about 8 tackles, missed 1. But majority of the time he was out there. Unfortunately, we were being dominated by the opposition at that time. So he had limited opportunity. He was prepping and warming up on the sideline for the whole game. And bouncing around and trying to get out there. But, yeah, they gave him sort of limited minutes in that game. But Jethro did look good, guys. He broke out a couple of times and showed a bit of speed and everything. So his recovery's been looking good. And I think he's, for me, going to be the best inclusion for our team if something happens. Yes. Because he was on a good trajectory last year when he came in. When he helped out, and obviously he's got his injury. So for the deficiencies we've got in limited players to select from the outside backs, he's going to be the next man up, I feel, once he's fully ready.
let's bring this up a little bit, shall we? We've gone 2 hours, but let's get this cranking. Oh, it's right there. Let's make us a bit smaller. Jethro Redikama, 20 runs yesterday in his first game back since getting injured in the Pacific Test for Fiji. 233 metres, and he made 3 line breaks.
4 offloads as well.
4 offloads. 2 tackle breaks, 3.4 seconds play the balls. He was hit hard in a few bits of contact. Had a couple of errors, which wingers can have. Played 80 minutes. Jonathan Sewer. 12 runs, 119 metres. Jed Reardon, 10 runs, 98. Cooper Toy, 14 runs, 180. Kay Dykes, 11 runs, 93 metres. 31 post contact. Louis Grossemi, 53 tackles. That shows you how much defence we had to do. Line break assists, 3 line break assists for Kay Dykes. There you go, guys. And a try assist. 3 tackle breaks. So he goes all right. Tay did some good stuff when he come on, made some good meters, 7 runs for 60. He only played about 20 minutes. Quick play of the balls. You know, people going on, oh, we let Matt Duffy go and he's destroying us. I'm just not even going to answer that. But good on Matt Duffy. He's an experienced, quick player who played a lot of NRL. Alex Conti scored a really good try as a halfback. He's impressing. Now, Daniel Sluka for Fafita, really important. He had, how many runs did he have? He had 13 runs, 136 metres. He's just too good for this grade.
There's a bit of talk during the week as well about him moving on. So, was it the Titans or someone else looking to get him to pick him up? So, he's an important part and he's a good luck charm for us guys. We want to keep him.
Jake Turpin made 50 tackles. Jack Underhill made 49 tackles.
There you go.
Zion
defence.
Louis Grossemi, 53 tackles. Zion Mayu, 20 tackles. He looked pretty good when he came on too. And he had 14 runs for 135 metres. So he's starting to hit his straps. Whether he plays NRL, I don't know. Could be used as that 17th player one day if things are going well and come on and make a real difference. But then everyone will be like, oh, he's got to play every week. Look what he done in that last 20 when we're up 18-0. You know. But he's definitely getting better. He's getting fitter. He's fitting into the system. He's not fatiguing as quickly. Fletcher Baker, 35 tackles, none missed. Alex Conti forced to do 32 tackles. How many tackles did our team make?
Yeah, there was a lot of defence, guys. They had 55% of possession, the Rabbitohs.
We completed 30 from 37.
Yeah. They completed 38 from 42. Yeah.
We made more line breaks.
But look at the run meters considering the possession. You know, we're only 95 behind them.
And they scored like 3 long-range tries.
Yep.
13 offloads.
More line breaks as well. We made more line breaks.
We made 378 tackles.
Yep.
And only missed 29. 8 errors, conceded 5 penalties to 2, 3 6 agains, which hurt us. But look, that was the exact game they needed. It was a fast game of rugby league where they were just forced to tackle all day. Jake Turpin needed that lung buster. So did DSF. They all needed that. They got it. Anyway, I've got Brian's given us. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Much improved, mate. And that'll go into our draw for next week. $8 into that already. Well done, mate.
Everybody in Sydney or East, don't forget daylight saving, guys. So I think it's at 3 a.m. It goes back to 2 a.m. So starting on Tuesday again, we'll be on the same time with Michael in Queensland. So
Yay.
we're always working out 1 hour your time, my time, your time. So it'll always be back. But tonight you'll all get an extra hour sleep, guys.
Enjoy it.
Tomorrow. So technically in Sydney now it says 10:20, but really you got to treat it like 9:20, guys. But soon, not now.
Yeah. So we'll be going on at 7:30 every week now, more than likely. Okay. Just want to share some positive comments. Khalil Salim, love the Dogs no matter what. Ross Palmer, the club have a better selection problem than the Dean Payad. The future looks great. Ross keeps it short and sweet. Sticks true. Blah, 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 blah. Let's get into it. Yep, Brian said Alex Johnson's pulled the pants down on a lot of players over the years trying to get a ball past him. Tracy won't be the last. Very good shout out. Don't think we've won a game. We have actually won a game with kick our captain. I'm sure we have. Yeah, I'm mad.
The last 2 times they're going to play the Dogs now. It's going to be without. The last 2 times the Panthers will be playing us now will be without kick out, the lucky bastards.
What's that?
Critter,
without Critter. Yeah.
Well, semi-final last year and now this game. So. Yeah, look, it's try doing what I do and losing anyway.
Yeah, we need. He's so slow. Well, AJ didn't get away on him. He stuck with him. And when you make when you're an extra forward coming out of the end, you're going to miss your assignment sometimes. Simple as that. They're not excuses. They're just outcomes due to the circumstances of the game, just like the meters, just like everything.
A lot of people wouldn't have scored the try that Montoya scored yesterday, guys. A lot of wingers would not have scored that try with that strength and upper body run, the way that he stepped back inside. A lot of wingers would not have scored the try that Montoya scored yesterday.
They would have bundled in touch.
Exactly.
I did think he was helped by the fact Latrell was trying to be a hero and manhandled Tuala.
That's all right, but a lot of them still wouldn't have scored that try. So he knew exactly what he was doing. Yeah, it was great. And then he had the presence of mind to keep going all the way under the sticks as well, which was good. Yeah,
Timmy, I was actually thinking that, like, you know, Tay could have been one that got an opportunity on the bench potentially. I just don't. They're just not handing jerseys away, and not even for the 6-man bench. All right, we've got to the end. Timmy Wilkins 1 hour extra sleep. Matt Duffy's worked really hard on his defensive side of his game. Yeah, well, he hasn't played NRL yet, though, Timmy. I will say that. So I've got my team in that I think will play. I've got a couple of different options that I think they might go with. So obviously it's Connor Tracy. And then you can tell me if you agree or disagree. Tracy, Sewer onto the left wing, Tuala right centre, Carraz left centre, Montoya right wing, Burton, Galvin, King, Haywood and Sam Hughes. Kickout, Preston, Salmon, Kurt Mann, Tupanua, Harry Hayes, O'Sullivan 17 but not guaranteed. And in any order, I'll probably Hopboy, Cherry, Spinks, Turpin, and maybe Daniel Sulik-Vida comes on as the extended. But I do have a different version of that. So I've got Tracy, Kraz, Tuala, Cherry, and Montoya. Burton, Galvin, King, Haywood, Hughes, Kickout, Preston, Salmon, Mann, Tupanua, Hayes, O'Sullivan, Hopboy, Sewer, Turpin, Underhill, Spinks, or DSF, or Finau Latu. They might put them there just to give the fans hope, like put Latu on that in that 23, number 23, just but then he doesn't play.
Plays on Friday potentially.
Yeah, so they can put the same guys out there this week. I think Fletcher Baker also comes into consideration as well. He's another one that was on that bench last week, so he had to play cup, right? He had to play cup because they've got Hotboy ahead of him. right? But Hot Boy played the week before, so he didn't have to go to Cup. So you keep that guy who started going because they're there and you give him the opportunity. I thought Hot Boy did a pretty good job on the weekend. Much more effective off the bench. Like, it should just show you when Hot Boy started the week before, he's one of the fittest forwards in our. They say he on the GPS is the fittest forward in our club, right? And Hughes is one of them as well. But when he starts in the middle of NRL, he's feeling the effects of that after about 20 minutes. You can't bring him off the bench. He can play 40 minutes straight. That's the drop in intensity from the first 20 to the rest of the game. It's just not the same. And we know on Tuesday that the club's probably going to have to turn the comment section off again because they'll be saying, how come Salmon's still at 13? Or why is Haywood still at 9? Like they say this every week. How come Kurt Mann isn't starting? Tupanua should be prop.
You know why? Because they don't listen to all things Bulldogs. That's why they say that.
Yeah, they come on, write a comment and get blocked. Someone said to me, I think Jethro is our future ahead of. Look, I think the club loves Jethro and Sewer, but I also think there's been Sewer was a chance of leaving at the end of last year. I know that I know that there's been a bit of anger about some of the players that have left through juniors and stuff, and that's meant that some players have just abandoned ship. But these are just things that happen when you're trying to build a really successful club, and it's affected our depth a little bit in a way. But yeah, look, I think hopefully Sewer gets his break and he can show what he can do for the Bulldogs this year, wherever he ends up. I hope he stays with the Dogs. I really do. But I think Jethro as an out-and-out winger, right? Whereas Sewer can play centre and wing.
Which he did on the weekend.
He's got really great footwork, but Jethro is just getting bigger and bigger. He hugs he's got those traits of a great winger where he hugs his line, right?
Yes.
He's always there. He's always there. AJ's always there. Hassan was always there.
Yes.
These players are always there. They're great wingers.
Yeah.
And they anticipate and they form great connections really quickly with their key players. Yes. Jethro's got that in his game, and he's also got that ability to absorb impact. He's got that ability to jump up and catch a footy. Jethro, I think, is, as Gus pointed out, the one that comes into our squad at some point again and keeps his spot barring injury. That's what I think happens.
You know what I thought was disappointing? You see, if you remember this, in the first half, Max King got an offload away, and it was held prematurely, I felt, because they weren't expecting him to do it, and he was trying to bring it back to his game. He's tried that a few times, and they brought it back to him and made him play the ball. That was still well within.
He got it away before he said held.
I couldn't hear that from sitting in the crowd, but from that, it looked premature.
Watch the replay, you'll hear it.
Yeah, and that's why I felt like it's a bit of a shame because they're not expecting him, and he was trying to get that second phase going.
He'd let the ball as the ball's let go, then the guy calls held,
and then he brings it back.
Hear it clearly on Fox. Yeah,
so
unless there's some delay between my sound and what I'm seeing on the field. And that was a bullshit call.
One thing I've noticed the last few games, when the Dogs are playing early on in the game, they're sort of selective about trying to get the offloads away. But the moment that they start, for me, and I've said it now a few times in the game, so the game doesn't start until the Dogs start getting the offloads away because that's when they start becoming dangerous. Unfortunately for us, it's our second phase play that gives us that impetus to start, looking at points. And that's what's been working well for us at the moment. So even the other day, like Kurt Mann, when they got that ball back and then he went and got it to Galvin, like that's sort of additional play. But when our offloads start coming, that's when we start to look a bit dangerous. So maybe we need to start them a little bit earlier in the game and just try to break the game up open a little bit earlier. But that's how I've been feeling at the games lately as well. It's just I've just been waiting, and then bang, as soon as the offloads come, so I say, guys, we're on, let's go. Once we start offloading, it's game on. It's they just keep going from there. So it's usually Carraz and Kikau that get that going. But I can see Max King trying to get into that action as well. So that would have been disappointing because he didn't try another one after that. That would have been disappointing for it to get called back for him because that would have been a handy one. And the reason it works so well for the Bulldogs guys is the Bulldogs don't die with the ball once they get an offload away. So they've actually been trained that when they get the offload away, they've actually do something with it. There's usually a few passes behind it. They're into structure straight away and ready to go. It's not so much the offload comes and the guy just takes a hit up behind the ruck. It's basically something happening with it. That's the way that they play. So that's why it works so well for a team like us, because we actually train for those offloads to run plays off those offloads as well. So
that's the other thing too, guys, is that teams obviously know how we do things as well. So we've had to evolve that, and it's going to take time. Time's just the thing, and sometimes you never get there. Right? Doesn't mean it's the wrong thing to try it. Trying a system, an attacking system, you got to give it every chance, and you got to have everyone believing in it. And then if you get to a certain point and you go, this isn't working, so be it. But you also got to understand that with our offloading game, like you can see with the numbers of the South Sydney team, every time Carraz ran the ball, they were trying to they were trying their hardest, like to stop his offloads and that. And so it's harder for players like King and Carraz to offload the ball. Oppositions do their homework, right? That's part of it. So you got to come up with different things to actually mitigate that a little bit. They were still the ones. Like I think Carraz had 3 offloads, Kikau had 3 offloads. Like they're still the ones getting them away, but it's not always as easy, and sometimes it's not as effective. It's like, well, if he gets this offload that he normally gets away, they tend to then really sets them on fire. So if we can stop that one and make it so it's a lot less sort of direct, like the one where he goes back and he sort of turns his back and then he just throws it like a one-handed basketball. Usually a fair bit happens off that. And
because he's got he's got about 3 or 4 people around you. So there's going to be space somewhere else, which is why they look to move it up straight away.
And I just want to call out that last try, like that was Salmon backing up through there and chooses the right pass to Tracy.
Yeah.
Apparently we're slow, but he ran away from him.
Yeah.
It's I don't know.
There's going to be a few games coming up, guys, where they're just going to break out the Bulldogs. They've got a tough draw. Like we've still got Panthers, Parramatta, and then there's Brisbane. So it's going to be
Cowboys and Dolphins.
Cowboys, yep. So it's going to be tough, guys, but they're up for it. And if they keep putting in the same effort, a team is not going to always be ready. They're going to be on, even if they're playing better. We're going to be winning those games, which is what we did in the first 2 rounds that we played. You're there, you keep putting in that effort, and the result comes. We had to win them in 90 minutes and play the full 80 against Canberra to get the result. But when we're on and the effort we're putting in, the results will come. So, and as they do, you start building off those as well.
I'm looking for I think the Cowboys are a very good side. Under a lot of pressure, but they've got so much talent. But I think the best thing they could do is not play Reed Marnie that day, because Reed's got a terrible record against his old mates. He really struggles. That's one of his weaknesses. He gets into his own head. Well, that's what it appears like anyway. He could pull our pants down and
Well, he
that'll
knows
be
it's going to be a grudge match for him. Yep.
and he's made it that way.
Yeah.
He's made it the grudge match. Timmy, we've had to earn every single fucking win we've had since 2023.
Yep.
Nothing's been easy.
Even the one against Manly
scoreboard.
last year. Even the one against Manly, we had to survive the onslaught they gave us, where they hammered us in the forwards to earn the right to win the game and then keep playing and dominate on the scoreboard. That was one of the only games where we were able to sit down and have a nice break. Even the game against the Knights last year, where we beat them, it was 2-0 at half time. We had to every game we've had to find a way. It's not been, we're on a steep learning curve, guys. We're still got so much to learn still.
There's these games that we play where we don't look, where it looks like the opposition have no answers. So they're easier because Knights never look like they're going to beat us. Only bad luck would beat us in that game. Same with the South Sydney game where we won 30-0, 16-8 against Parramatta. Like, we just went foursome backs and set for set, 90% completions for both sides for 70 minutes. Score a try late to get some space. We're going to beat those sides, guys. If we don't, oh, well, I won't be happy. But that's rugby league. But I believe that they will go out there and beat these teams. And they're going to start on Thursday. They're going to go out there and give Panthers a dose of the Bulldogs. And just the law of averages in history tells you the Panthers are going to have a moment where they're don't go as good as they have been going. And it also suggests that a team even without Crichton in it, has enough ability and confidence with what it's done the last 2 years to spring a big upset. But where the club wants to be, guys, and this is why we're not just going to sit there and be almost good enough and beat these teams on that when they have an off day. We have to build and develop a roster where our team's best beats their best 75% of the time. That's where we got to be, because that's where Penrith are. They were 20 years ahead of us only 4 or 5 years ago, in my opinion. Now I reckon they're about a decade in front of us. We're still a mountain to climb to be at that level.
And how many players are changing for us in the next 18 months from the team we've got now? I reckon half the team. Yep, I reckon at least half the team. So this is not the finished product, guys, but we're going to keep building. We're going to keep working at it.
And the problem is, Gas, is that when people make these narratives that Burton's unhappy, you just got to look how serious he is about winning that game of rugby league every week. He, as laid back as he is, he's sitting there right now going, fuck, I hate losing. And I love Canterbury. Right? He wants to win a premiership at the Dogs. That's all he wants. Whether he stays or goes, doesn't matter. That's what he wants right now.
Yeah.
These players, they have to believe they can win a comp. And the coach has to make them believe that. Whether they've got a wooden spoon squad or not, it doesn't matter. You have to believe you can win, but you have to also understand that you got to build it. And the fear that I have, guys, is that these fools with their narratives can really have an effect on the people that vote in our boards and have brought us from the ashes in a small period of time, really, to be a top 4 team on the ladder. Got so much success, they've got to be allowed to continue to do their job and have that stability. And they don't get that when you get these people trying to start petitions and hashtag sack Gould, sack Ciraldo. Fuck off. Let them learn. Let them build. It's not built yet. It's not built yet. It will be, though. Yeah, well, I can see Hayward. I can see Marnie giving away 17 penalties in that game, Brian.
Yeah, the hook might come out if that's the case.
Well, that's the thing. He says he's gone there as an 80-minute player. He's been.
But they've taken him off after 60 as well sometimes.
He's been averaging 60 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He even talked about it in the preseason.
Yes, 100%.
But Peyton's a pretty straight shooter. He's like, oh, I'm not seeing 80 minutes in you. That's right. We need proud, passionate fans. That's right, Tinny. Who don't give up. Who stay at the game, keep cheering, keep supporting, don't give a fuck about anything but supporting the team through thick and thin. That's it, mate. Look, if the only time you start questioning if your team is physically giving up, and that's it, and they look like they're not interested. Now, some people were saying that from the weekend. That's a really poor read of it. You're just looking at the outcome and saying they were uninterested. So people saying they had an attitude problem on the weekend. They had a discipline problem because that they couldn't rectify, nor did they get any fairness with. But and the sad thing about it is that I felt we had good momentum at times and dominated their ruck a lot. Yeah, got penalised for it. And that's what happens when you get Paul Crawley going out there calling our captain, saying our captain's made of Teflon and shit. And that they're getting all the favours.
Because it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
Which we spoke about the other day. We said that because that's come out now, anything that's 50-50 is going to go against us just to prove it wrong.
That's
so it. And the refs had to do it to basically show that, oh no, we're not that's not how we play. So that every 50-50 went against us. And for me, I still don't agree. I had another look at a couple of replays. I still can't see Latrell Mitchell getting that ball down, guys. I still can't. I know you said I still can't see where he got it down.
I think it was more of a try than Carrazza's the week before.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying for that game, for that try, I still can't see where he got that down. So, to me, I still thought he missed it. So, yeah. So, but again, 50-50 calls, they all went their way. So,
that's it. All right, just seeing if we covered everything.
Brian, I think it might be disinterested, mate. I don't know, but yeah, you're right, mate. You're right. It's
That's it, Brian.
You're right, mate.
We'll have to get Brian on here one day. G'day, Tony.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Good to see you, Tony. Hope you're well, mate. I don't think we weren't uninterested. I think that's the wrong word, buddy. But each their own.
No, he's saying that a team that was, if they were disinterested, they wouldn't just get beat by 8, he's saying.
No, I mean Tony. Sorry.
Tony?
We look bang average without Critter on the field. Very concerned. Yeah, well, look, I just think we well, he's our best player. Of course, he's not going to be as good. He's our captain. That's always going to put a bit of a dent in your confidence during a game. But I would suggest that we, everything we've talked about on the podcast, Tony, today.
Tony's just said that he's just jumped on now. He's going to listen to the stuff from the start tomorrow. So, we'll cover all those bits and pieces for you, mate. So, yeah, mate.
Well, hopefully you feel a bit better after listening to it tomorrow and have some Easter eggs with it. But don't make sure you don't have a sugar low during it because that can dampen your mood as well.
It's all right, guys.
All right. We're going to head off now.
What would someone say, guys? It's like painting lipstick on a pig. So anyway, we've done the best. We've done the best we can, guys. I know it's 2 losses, guys, but we've got the spirits up. Come on, we go into Thursday night. Let's go out there and let's give those Panthers hell. Most of their supporters won't travel. They don't even go to bloody Combank. So let's go down there and Thursday night. Let's put on a show. Who knows, guys? Who knows? You know, get
Yeah.
the drums banging and let's go.
And I can't look. And if it doesn't go well and the Panthers smash us, you know, all those podcasters will be sitting there like applauding the Panthers on how good they are. And I'm just disgusted in them, mate. I hate them. I'm starting to hate our fans. Look, mate, we all get mental health and shit. Sometimes it's hard to even do this and defend our club. And they say, well, you don't defend the club when they play shit. I'm like, why not? Because I got to defend the overall thing, right? That's what I feel I've always done. I was here when we were getting smashed when Barrett was a coach, and I was supporting Barrett.
Yeah.
And if he came and coached us again, I'd support him. I'm not going to sit there and attack the club. Yeah. That might sound preposterous, right, to hear that.
Yeah.
But the club holds itself accountable. They have to. And I know for a fact they do. And they all hold themselves accountable to what they got to do. Young kids, families, player managers, that's something you've always got to manage. And you got to manage motivation. Well, they've got to do it themselves, but it's such a tough thing. But we love it. It's the best thing in the world. It's the greatest game. And, you know, it's a privilege to be a member of the Bulldogs and be the same, you know, wear this merch and these colours that Terry Lamb played in and Mortimer played in and Haslam played in and
Les Johns and everyone else.
Braith and Astor. I used to love Braith. Part of me still does. But
the Intercept King.
There you go. Yeah, I know you're sick of him, Amir. So am I. And let's see what happens. Timmy, send him a message if you want.
Come on, mate. I'll be in the kennel, mate. I'll be in the kennel, mate. Same place you found me last time, mate. 110, mate. That's my spot. I'm like Sheldon, mate, in Big Bang. I've got my spot. That's my spot, guys. If anyone's in my spot, I'll move them out. That's my spot. Let's go.
That's it. Rumour has it Braith forges his golf scores. Wouldn't surprise me.
Whoa, he's a scratch player or +1, +2. He's actually a good golfer, so I don't know, mate. It's interesting, but I don't know. It's a
get on Instagram and say that rumor to him. He'll react. You watch.
Oh, send me a message. I'll send you his mobile. You can text him. All I know this week, guys, it's in a very important week from the golfing side. It's Masters week, guys. Next week is Masters week. Come on, best golfing on the calendar, guys. Masters week is the best thing, guys. Come on.
Don't worry. As long as Tiger can ring the president and get himself exonerated, that's all that matters.
Oh, my God.
Oh, how bad was that? Anyway, people, we're not going to talk about the other teams and the other games and pretend we know about all the other teams. Well, we do. We actually do. Unlike
while we're doing this, Broncos beat the Titans, just in case some of you didn't follow, 26-12.
Well,
Timmy, the Pathways results. Michael will go into that in a bit of detail on a separate channel, but we only had, I think, one other win on most of those.
We won Jersey Flag. Yeah. Parramatta was hard today. We lost Farrell Matts and SG Ball there. Yeah, and they're going to have to play Parramatta next week. It'll be the finals for SG Ball next week. Our young man Chinadu Uday played in the middle off the bench.
Even Aki went out there today. Aki went out and watched them against Parramatta today out at Kellyville.
Yeah, Parramatta are a pretty good side, both grades. But we're developing players out of that system. That's all that matters.
Waiting on a few more scans, I'm sure. It's all right, Brian, mate. It's okay, mate. It's just when the Dogs lose, mate, I have to focus my energy on somewhere else to keep the positivity, buddy.
I reckon Crichton will be out for 3 weeks is my prediction. But we'll see. That's just me predicting stuff without knowing any of the information yet.
So
all right, let's go, guys.
You're saying Critter will bring Leo Thompson back with him, you reckon? Let's see.
I reckon Leo will be back round 7, round 8 at the latest.
All right,
But
let's go.
there's
guys.
this little conspiracy theory that he's going to be out until round 12 because then we'll get half his salary cap back.
Anyway,
We'll see what happens.
let's go, guys.
Lost in darkness, the Bulldogs lost their way. Losing everything and forgot how to play. Along came the kid with long blonde hair. His name is Jeff Preston, do not despair. Doggies fans, are you ready? Ready? Yes, we are ready, ready. Here we go, here we go, here we go. WrestleMania, mania, mania. WrestleMania, mania, mania, mania. WrestleMania, mania, mania. Memories of Barrett's boys hurt us as we hang our heads in shame. Des and Deeb left us without a blue sky, and most scapegoats to blame, but the rival of Presto and a new hungry Bulldogs breed will leave these nightmare memories for dust as they look for opponents to meet. Doggies fans, are you ready? Ready? Yes, we are ready, ready. Here we go, here we go, here we go. WrestleMania, mania, mania. WrestleMania, mania, mania, mania. WrestleMania, mania, mania. He came in 2023. He won all the awards and embarrassed some frauds or three. Tackling until his last breath, running harder than much bigger men. WrestleMania.